Hey guys, welcome back to 4th grade social studies. So today we are on page 190 in your social studies book, so go ahead and turn there. Today our title is America Watches the War Concerns. So far America has not entered the war at all. We've been watching, waiting to see if we need to get involved, but we want to avoid that at all costs because war means deaths. We don't want Americans to die from this, okay? So they had not gotten involved yet, but let's read and see what's going to happen. So it says, all over the United States, people eagerly read about the war in newspapers. President Wilson believed that Americans should stay neutral, not get involved. They should not take sides and they should not enter the war themselves. But Americans were concerned. America had more ties to Great Britain than any other country. Many Americans traced their roots back to England, Scotland, or Ireland. So they had ancestors that lived there. They had come from there, maybe back in colonial times. All right. France had helped America during the Revolutionary War to get our freedom from Great Britain. All these countries traded with the United States. Many Americans felt loyal to the Allies, so that side of the alliances, for these reasons. Another reason for concern was Germany's methods of war, so what they were using to get back at the Allies. Many Americans thought German strategies were unfair. If Germany invaded neutral countries like Belgium, would it try to attack the United States? Germany also had a policy that called unrestricted submarine warfare. The strong British Navy had cut off shipping from Germany's ports. The Germans started using undersea boats rather than ships. Germans warned that their submarines would attack any ship that came into a war zone. All ships could be attacked, not just warships. Germany placed ads in America's newspapers. These ads told Americans not to travel on British ships. However, Americans thought Germany was wrong to do this. Germany's policy took away Americans' freedoms to choose their transportation. They didn't like that. We like our freedom, right? So, as a result, many more Americans favored the Allies over the Central Powers. It was hard to be neutral in this conflict. The sinking of the Lusitania. In 1915, so a year after the war had started, an event took place that shocked and angered Americans. On May 7th, a British passenger ship, the Lusitania, was sailing from New York to England. Some of the passengers on the ship were Americans. The ship had just come within sight of the coast of Ireland. Too late, the ship's crew realized that a German submarine was nearby. The Germans fired a torpedo at the Lusitania, which is like an underwater giant bullet. All right, so a torpedo at the Lusitania. It struck the ship's side and the ship began to sink. You can see that in our page right there, that illustration. Some passengers were able to scramble into lifeboats. Many jumped from the deck and clung to the floating cargo. Others were trapped on board the ship. The Lusitania sank in less than 20 minutes. More than 1,000 people died. Of those who drowned, 128 were Americans. President Wilson demanded that the Germans stop attacking ships that were not warships. Germany wanted to keep peace with the United States, so it agreed to stop. So the president said, hey, we're not trying to hurt anyone. This was just a passenger ship. They were just traveling from New York to England. They weren't doing anything wrong, right? And so America was very, very angry about this. And Germany didn't want the United States to come into the war, so they agreed to stop. Okay, turn the page. He kept us out of war. America continued to stay out of the war. The American people read in the newspapers about the Battle of Verdun in France. Hundreds of thousands of men died in the long battle. Then they read the Battle of the Somme River. It seemed that the war was dragging on and on. Neither side seemed to be able to win. The sinking of the Lusitania had caused more Americans to feel loyal to the Allies, but there was not a strong belief that America should join the war. Many of them hoped that the European countries would be able to make peace soon. Woodrow Wilson, the president at that time, ran for another term in 1916. He kept us out of war, Americans reminded each other. The phrase became the official slogan for Wilson's campaign. President Wilson was elected to a second term. So if you look at the picture at the top of that page, you can see there's a campaign poster on there for Woodrow Wilson. And it says an election campaign truck in New York. So they drive that around and people would look at it and see, oh yeah, you're right. He did keep us out of war, right? So we should vote for him. Unless they had a differing opinion. But they're trying to sway their opinion to vote for him again. All right, so we're going to stop there for today, and I'll see you in a little bit.